Okay, so what this is just basically part two of my Star Wars video that I did. And where I left off was I was talking about how it could be very difficult for film directors to get their film off the ground. Like I said in the last video, right before it cut off, was that there was a filmmaker who in the 1970s tried to do a big budget Dune film. And that film was never able to get off the ground because that filmmaker hadn't done anything before that impressed the studio. So they weren't willing to finance the film. And it sounded like he wanted to do kind of an interesting movie, like be real big budget. Pink Floyd was supposedly going to do the soundtrack. So it was going to probably be something pretty cool, like the Flash Gordon movie where, you had Queen do the soundtrack. Which kind of leads to another thing that I know, and that's that George Lucas actually wanted to do Flash Gordon, but he didn't have the rights to do the film. So instead he started, he just wrote his own thing, which became Star Wars. And, I think everyone can agree that it's better that it worked out that way, for sure. That he did his own thing and it wasn't just his version of Flash Gordon. So... But yeah, getting back to things, getting back to Star Wars, I've seen a number of documentaries on the film where they talk about the making of it. I know Lucas has talked about his influence in Akira Kurosawa on the film. I believe it's the movie called Hidden Fortress, where, especially Lucas got the idea of like comic relief characters, like a C-3PO and R2-D2. And from what I've heard in Hidden Fortress, there's even a scene where one of the comic relief characters tells the other comic relief character, okay, go that way, get lost, go. Kind of like what you have in Star Wars. So, I know Akira Kurosawa was an influence on it. Dune as well, I believe, was an influence on Star Wars. Don't know that Lucas has really talked about that being an influence, but it really appears that in a lot of ways, Dune did influence Star Wars a lot. I mean, if you compare the two, you would see a lot of similarities. I mean, Dune, as you know, is supposed to be one of the better sci-fi novels ever written, although, the movie that eventually got made in the 80s, I can't really speak on it because I haven't really seen too much of it. Generally not regarded as a very good film, though. But yeah, getting back to Star Wars, I know when Lucas wanted to make the film, he really had kind of a limited budget. He needed a star, so he chose Alec Guinness, which my understanding is at the time, Alec Guinness supposedly wasn't really that much of a bankable star. He had done Bridge Over the River Kwai, some other movies, but at that time, his, star power was kind of fading, and Carrie Fisher, the daughter of Debbie Reynolds, was pretty much an unknown at the time. Mark Hamill, of course, was, also an unknown. I believe he had done some TV, but really wasn't too well known. And Harrison Ford, who really became kind of the breakout star of Star Wars, at that point was really looking for his big break in, the film industry. I think he had been in Hollywood, I heard, since around 65. And, he'd been trying to get parts and roles. Everyone knows he became a carpenter for a while, but it wasn't until Star Wars came along where his career was really launched. And, you see Star Wars, you could see why. You could see the kind of, the sort of a unique presence that he had in the film. So really launched his career. And it's kind of interesting because I have also seen like some of the screen tests that they've done. I guess the casting for it was sort of a dual casting with Lucas working alongside Brian De Palma, who at that time was doing the casting for Carrie. So, different actors were auditioning for different roles and whatnot. And I know that one actor later played in The Greatest American Hero, but from what I understand, that guy almost got the part of Luke Skywalker. He was seriously considered, but he ended up getting a role in the film Carrie instead. But, and I know this just from, seeing those various making of Star Wars films. And, not surprisingly, when Star Wars came out, it was a huge film. It should have gotten Best Picture in 1977. Annie Hall did. And although I think Annie Hall is one of the better Woody Allen movies, you can't compare to Star Wars. I mean, there's just no way. So, yeah, like I said, I truly think Star Wars was a very groundbreaking, monumental film. And that's really all I have to say on it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.